Now on to the program. It is my distinct pleasure to introduce Derek Anderson, the Executive Director of the Northern Westchester Hospital Center, who will make our first presentation. Derek, will you please join us?
Good evening. It is great to be with you tonight. I am honored to introduce the first honoree. Just a few words, if I may. And Tom, thank you for this opportunity. As Tom said, my name is Derek Anderson. I have the privilege of working with an incredible team in the hospital of Mount Kisco, Northern Westchester Hospital, part of the Northwell Health family. That was Northern Westchester Hospital clapping. So the fans are like us. So the United Way and Northern Westchester, believe it or not, have a lot in common. We're here to serve the community. We're here to help individuals and residents be well, stay healthy, and live their best selves financially, personally, and in every way. It's therefore, for me, a very special privilege that I have the opportunity to introduce you to the United Way of Westchester and Putnam's former board chair, the current chair-elect of the United Way of New York State Board, and this year's Spirit of Caring Community Service awardee, June Blanc. After a professional career in urban planning, June became the consummate, dedicated community leader that she is, and is known throughout Westchester County. She joined the United Way of Westchester and Putnam Board of Directors in 2013, and then she immediately put herself to work being the doer. And working with her during COVID with the hospital, June is like, you don't say no. Like, I learned that from the beginning. You just say yes. It'll save you a lot of time because you're gonna say yes eventually. And you appreciate how much energy and dedication that June brings. And then she's known with the United Way as leading a major project to update the organization's bylaws. And then thereafter, she served as the vice chair for fundraising. When she became the board chair in 2018, little did June know what lay ahead. Grappling with the retirement of the United Way's former CEO, leading the search for the right replacement, and starting a long-term strategic assessment for the organization. And then March 2020 hit. With a health crisis and economic crisis, the likes of none of which any of us have seen in over 100 years. But amidst the chaos and uncertainty, June embraced both flexibility and nimbleness, never wavering in her attention to detail and process, yet inspiring those around her to rally and soldier on. June has dedicated several years of service in leadership roles to many community-based organizations in Westchester, including the Junior League of Northern Westchester, Hope's Door, T-Town Lake Reservation, St. Matthew's Church, and of course, Northern Westchester Hospital. June has been a part of the Northern Westchester Hospital family for many years, going back, I think we were talking this evening, 35, almost 40 years with Northern Westchester Hospital. So June was in her teens, early 20s when you first started volunteering at the hospital. So for many years, June was, she served on the Board of Trustees of Northern Westchester Hospital. She currently serves on the foundation board, and for the last 2 decades, June has led a council, we call it the President's Council, which is comprised of all the town's supervisors, the school superintendents, local business owners, and a lot of faith-based leaders. We come together to talk about issues and the voice of the community with the hospital, and June has chaired that for the last 2 decades, and we're very grateful for that. During COVID, June and I worked very closely, of course, everything happening, I can imagine, with the United Way and serving residents in Westchester, just as we did with the hospital and everything happening in the medical community. And now June on that council helps us. We have a group that's actively working on mental health and gun violence, things that we consider very important to our community. So it is my absolute pleasure to introduce and have June come up as the Spirit of Caring Community Service Award winner.
So thank you very much. So Faith, I think you said 4 minutes, so that picture didn't count out of my time, right? So anyway, I am, I don't know how to tell you, but I am truly humbled by this. You know, I just love being a volunteer. As soon as we moved into Westchester, it was like one of those things that was natural. And I kind of have to tell you a little bit about background as to why that is. So my parents came from China as students in the late 30s, early 40s, and their dream was to come, be educated, take back what they knew and learned in the United States to what they had hoped was going to be a democratic China, sort of on the cusp of happening. So then World War II came. So my father then was at MIT, and he was asked if he would teach naval officers about aeronautical engineering, which he did and was delighted. My mother taught Chinese at Harvard. But their dream was always to go back, to take what they had learned from the United States to China. So they did go back in the late 40s. At some point then, I was born. Can't be president. But in any case, thankfully, but in any case, the China that they had dreamed of being part of being a new blossoming country was not to happen. And so they then came back to a welcoming United States, and they ended up in San Antonio, Texas. And so for my parents, that energy and what they had hoped for, they put into being citizens of the United States and residents of San Antonio, Texas. And so for my mother and father, it was always a great deal of gratitude, appreciation, and love of the United States. And so they got involved in everything. So I just remember that, you know, my brother and I would hide and go, oh no, not another dinner. Who are these people in our house? So in any case, you know, forward moving, we moved to Westchester. And I don't know why. I actually didn't think about it until I was sort of thinking about what I was going to say. It was just very natural. So when I say I am really humbled and somewhat surprised about this, I find it that it was very natural for me to have wanted to serve our country and where we live. I've loved it. There are such bright, wonderful people who are in our, you know, in Westchester and in Hudson Valley, who just love this area, are so dedicated to it, who want our community to be better than it is. The staffs that we have in all of our not-for-profit organizations, I am just wowed by them. And I can't tell you how much I have learned from them, how much they are a part of my life. It's a wonderful world, and I very much appreciate this reward, which I don't feel that I really deserve, because there's so many other people who have lifted me up to this. So thank you.